Hi. Doing a little walk and talk. So let's see. November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. So about 9 months so far. Just trying to go back over what's been going on, how things are going, things that I've come to realize, learn. I know a lot of people that are getting out and retiring actually go back and do regular jobs immediately after, or not too long after they get out of the military. It's certainly not my thing. I definitely tried. I tried for about a year and a half before I got out, and then actually a few months after I got out as well. I come to find out that applying for jobs isn't my thing. Or maybe it is, I don't know. I've never had any trouble in the past, but it seemed like once I was actually getting out of the military again, trying to get a job was kind of weird. It was a combination of things, right? Me putting my resume together, getting it set up right, me having the right kind of things in my resume, job announcements getting put up and then pulled down. I mean, there's a multitude of things. I interviewed a few times for a few jobs, but nothing really stuck. And then at some point I got to the point where I was like, okay, what do I really want in a job? And what do I really need in a job? And I mean, one of the main reasons I got out was so I can get control of my time back, because time is like my most precious resource. And in the military you have a lot of it, but at the same time you don't get, like, you can't take 6 months off or 3 months off or whatever and just go travel and do things. You can't just get up from your home office and go do what you want to do and then come back when you want and manage your own time. As far as hours, you got to be in the seat for a certain amount of time every day, that kind of thing. And I guess that's normal with any job. But yeah, so I just sat down and decided, like, what do I really want in a job? What do I want my job to look like? Do I even want a job? Can I make it without a job financially? What kind of money do I need to offset my expenses and do the stuff that I want to do and still be comfortable? And there's a lot of unpacking there, like as far as what do you have and what are you paying for and all those kind of things. So I really had to sit down and evaluate like all that. And I decided at some point that I was basically not willing to relocate for anybody, that I wanted to be 100% remote, meaning 100% remote anywhere on the planet, not just in the United States, or not just in Boston, or not just in Colorado Springs, like 100% remote. Meaning that if I want to go to, Thailand for 3 months and live there and work, that I can still be able to do that, assuming that I can meet the requirements for the time and everything else. Like if they're on a different time zone, then I can meet those requirements. Actually, the main part of my criteria was really that. It was like the time zone, being able to work remotely from wherever, and not having to conform to some kind of office structure. Like even if it was work remotely and then maybe have a once or twice or 3 times a year meetup where the whole company gets together, like that's fine too. Like I don't mind that, but actually sitting in an office in a single location, it's just not my thing. And it's funny that I've done some interviews since then, and really interesting that how people respond to those kind of requests. Like I don't really respond to it really well. It's kind of funny. A lot of times when somebody says remote, they don't necessarily mean 100% remote. Like remote means, yeah, you live in the city and you're gonna potentially commute once in a while to the office to do on-site stuff. That, and then the complications of actually working outside of the country for, extended periods of time, and what kind of tax implications that has. Like, that's really all combined into that. So yeah, that was it's been my experience so far, and so far I haven't found anything that meets those requirements. Like, nothing. Not one yet. Every single job that I've applied for that's been 100% remote has, in the end, come to find out that they aren't really 100% remote, that they do want you in a single location or within the continental United States. And I guess we'll figure it out sooner or later, and people will start to understand how important that is. Like, right now we've got a big job pool, and we've got lots of people that are smart, and people are willing to compromise for the sake of the job because of the amount of money they get paid. But really, at the end of the day, not really what I'm looking for. And hopefully it'll get straightened out, or we'll just find better ways to work, or some of these barriers, like the tax issues and things like that, will start to get ironed out a little bit more, because there's more and more people globally entering the job markets globally. And with the rise of things like, cryptocurrency and being able to transfer money across borders seamlessly, instantly, I think it's going to become more and more relevant. People are going to start to wake up to it. Right now it's not so relevant because people can still do it the old way. Right now I'm doing freelancing still. I get to do what I want to do on my terms. There's 2 or 3 hours of every day, Monday through Friday, that I gotta sit behind my keyboard and do some work, like a co-working session. But other than that, it's pretty straightforward, pretty normal. The last 9 months I've been back and forth to Europe, in a few different countries, and stayed for a few months at a time, so it works out. They work on my schedule. One of the guys that I work with, he's from the UK. The other guy's out in the West Coast, out in Santa Barbara. So, and it's very, startup environment. Very relaxed and chill. I've actually, for the last probably 2 months, have maybe worn shoes 4 or 5 times. And by 4 or 5 times, I mean, 1 hour or something at a time, which is kind of funny. But, and so for anybody out there, definitely if you're looking for a job in any capacity, like, you definitely want to be able to have a good resume, have a strong resume, have somebody or a few people review your resume. Like, I've got a friend of mine, Mr. Chaffman, maybe you know him, maybe you don't, and we still talk back and forth, but he was like, yeah, let me see your resume. So we ran it through some filters and kind of condensed it down and made it a little bit more better for the job market. But even then, applying for jobs, it's still been the same kind of answers and results. So yeah, I would say definitely, if you don't have a resume, before you get out, I would definitely sit down and spend some time and get one put together. If you haven't been to any mock-up interviews or haven't tried to learn the interviewing process, and I know we all go through the used to be called the ACAP program, but the Soldier for Life program, and it teaches you a little bit here and there, and there's some people in there, but they're not like, they're smart people and they've got good information, but they're also not experts, and they're also a single point of information. So don't just go off of one little session with them and think, okay, so now I know everything I need to know. Like, if you have to stretch beyond those boundaries and find some meetup groups or some online groups, maybe on Facebook or something like that, that have more information that you can do a little bit of research. I mean, that's basically what it boils down to. Do a little bit of research, spend a little bit more time than just the surface stuff, and dig into it, and maybe you'll find what you're looking for. But definitely the one thing that's helped me out the most mentally and job search wise is sitting down and figuring out, like, what are my criteria, what am I willing to accept, what am I not willing to accept, and sticking to that very rigidly, because at the end of the day, like, a job's a job. They're all the same. You go, you interview, they tell you what you're gonna do. If they hire you, they pay you, you do a job, you stay there, you don't stay there, it's up to you and them. There's always jobs, but you should be able to determine what you want out of a job just as much as a job should be able to determine what they want out of you. So it's not just a one-way street. And with that, I'll let you go. Have a great one, and feel free to reach out to me in the comments below. Until then.